Heavenly Father, we continue to pray for the full recovery of our brother Pete Benavides. Lord, give him strength and give him the wisdom to follow the doctor's instructions. Lord, we also pray for safe travel for our Commissioner, Mrs. Tamayo, and Lord, for all the business that will be before the judge and the commissioners here this morning. We pray, Lord, that you'll be well pleased with the final outcome of each and every item on today's agenda. Lord, we continue to pray for safety on our streets and our parks and our beaches. Lord, I ask you to keep that surge in the Gulf right now as mild as possible for our neighbors in Florida, any other area that will be affected. And Lord, give us safety and precautionary action as needed for these up-and-coming hurricanes during this season. We praise you and thank you, Lord, for keeping them away from our shores. And also, finally, Lord, I ask for safety for those crossing into the United States. It doesn't matter from where, but Lord, help us to denote those that are coming here to work or to have pleasure versus those that are coming here to harm our country. Lord, we depend upon you to guide our civil liberties, our border patrol, our state militia, all those that are there to protect us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Anybody signing for public comments? Presentation and status report on the first and second call border Colonia Access Program. Good morning, Mr. Nojosa.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Mr. Spula is out of town this morning and asked me to come by and do a little small presentation to the court on the status of the Cameron County Colonia projects. If you look in front of you, I put some handouts for you, a couple of spreadsheets, and also a finances handout, and I'll explain that to you. I'll try to keep it short, but if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them for you. If you look at your first spreadsheet, which is the one in blue, this is the first call project that we started a couple of years ago, well, about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. And we're glad to report to you this morning that we're pretty much finished with the first call, other than a few pending little items. Dodson Shoemaker, the last of the projects, and also we have Bishop, which we ran out of funds on that one, but Pete tells me that we're going to try to see if we can get it done through county funds.
Just one last street or what?
Yes, sir. And that should conclude the first phase. It took us hard work, 2 years, and we slowed down for a little bit, but we caught up. But basically, the spreadsheet will show you there that there's two parts to it. The first part of the first call, those are projects that were selected based on population. The second part are those projects that were selected based on competitive criteria set up by TxDOT. And if you look at your spreadsheet from left to right, on top of the column, first column has the names of the colonias. I won't go through the whole thing, but just pick some of the information out. We did 9 colonias under the first call, under population-based colonias. Approximately 9 miles of roads for a total of a little over $3 million. That's what we spent on the first call, the first part. The second part, of course, is the competitive bid or call projects, and Cameron Park was selected for that. As you know, Cameron Park, we went out.
Can I interrupt you just for a second?
Sure.
I'm sorry, before we get into the second call. This is just minor thing, but it's a major thing to some of the residents out there. I've gotten several phone calls from people in the community, and I go to mass there once in a while at Cameron Park about people parking on top of the sidewalks and creating a problem because they're going to ruin those sidewalks. Is there I'm assuming that that's illegal in violation of some state laws, or I don't know if we have any ordinances, but I would like for us to post some signs out there that fines people, that tells people that they'll be fined if they park on top of the sidewalk. I mean, those sidewalks are for the kids to not be in the street. They're there to protect the public, not for people to park on top of them. And it's just like, we just finished building a little track at the park there, and a walking track that families could walk on to get exercise, and people are driving on top of the track there as well. So I got Javier to go over there and put some barriers to prevent the people from coming in. But I would like to see if we could get some signs up and then get some law enforcement people to start patrolling the area and giving some tickets out there on the people who park on top of the sidewalk, because
Sure. They tear them up and.
Yeah, I mean, no podemos hacer algo bien y ahí andan irresponsible people doing this stuff, Just like I went out I went to mass at San Diego in Valle Escondido, and I stopped off at the park that we just recently built, and it's all graffitied, and the bathrooms were all trashed out, and just
You tell the people to take care of their own areas.
The baseball field they had torn out pieces of fence. I mean, it was just really upsetting to me.
Let me see what I can do, Judge, and I know we don't have any ordinances like cities do, but maybe we can adopt something and.
Well, maybe there's a state law or some sort that
we can use to
prevents
adopt
you from parking on top of sidewalks.
I'd like to do that, and I'll
Yes,
share
sir.
it out.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioner. There's a state law about people parking on the sidewalk, Judge.
Okay.
It's a state.
Well, if you could send your patrol officers in there, and if they, see anybody parking on there, if you could just get them to ticket them,
Sure.
and I'll talk to the JPs and tell them, no brakes on these, because this is wrong, man. I mean, we spent a lot of money fixing up these communities, and the big issue for the community was these sidewalks. We had some little girls got killed out there because they were walking on the street and there was nowhere for them to walk, and that's one of the reasons why we invested in these sidewalks, and then for people to go. It's not only are they blocking access to the people walking on the sidewalks, they destroy these sidewalks, when they get on top of them with these big vehicles. So anyway, I'm sorry, I vented, but I needed to.
Not a problem. I
Thank you,
think it's a good point, Judge, and we'll check into it, make sure that we can correct some of those situations there. As I was saying, continuing with the second part of the first call, just to finish up with Cameron Park, I was going to say that we were able to hire a contractor. It took us about a year to finish up the first phase, and we only have a short punch list that we're getting ready to finish out, and we spent a little over $4 million on the first phase of Cameron Park. TxDOT, of course, gave us funds for $7 million. Out of those $7 million, we're going to use 4, so there's going to be $3 million left. Phase 3 is the one we're getting ready to bid out. It's already out on the paper, and we're taking bids in July, and that's going to be estimated at $2.3 million. So we're going to use those funds out of the $7 million, or remaining $3 million, and they'll leave us around $700,000 plus for the second phase, which will come probably in the third year. But we're on schedule. I think we're going to get good bids, and hopefully we will stay within that budget.
When are the bids coming in?
In July, we'll receive bids here at the court and see who.
But it's
going
been
out for bids. In other words, it's out in the paper. Contractors should be picking up plans already for the third phase, okay, for the third phase. We're skipping 2, and so that will pretty much end the first call for Cameron Park in that sequence, okay.
Then we go then you're gonna
Yes, sir, and
request
then
money for the third phase.
yes, sir, that's correct.
Where's PUB at on the money for the relocation of the lines for the
Okay,
second?
PUB,
phase?
the first call, they had allocated $1.5 million for utility relocation. They only used about 700,000, so they had some funds left over from the first call for utility, and they refunded their funding for this third phase, and they should be in place, and it's around another $600 or $800,000 for utility.
But
They have the
they've
money in
already got the
place.
money?
The money's in place. The second, I'm sorry, the handout that I just gave also out is this one here. This first spreadsheet doesn't have all the current financing, so this handout here shows you pretty much the expenditures that were done on all the colonias. And I won't go through it all, but it's pretty much tells you where all the money went. And if you just look at the last sheet there of this handout, and it tells you there that that the text funding for all the colonias, inclusive of the first phase, well, leave the first phase, no, all three phases of Cameron Park were $10,228,000. And so far, we've used a little over 7 million. And so that leaves the remaining, the 3 million that we're talking about here on your right-hand side, where it has the balance column there. So that's where we're at. This is just an update of where we're at on costs. I mean, I'm not an accountant, but those are pretty much the current balances. And I think we only have about $12,000 left after that.
Let me ask you this, by the way, I mean, I should have began by saying that they did a real good job there, and it looks real nice, and the residents of the community that live in the areas that have been paved are very, very happy, and the residents of the community that are not in the area that's been paved are very apprehensive, but you know, we go out there, John and I, periodically to reassure the residents that we're gonna pave it all. But one of the things that I'm, I'm not a county commissioner that's, that is involved in the intricacies of road work, so I don't understand how this works. And I'm sure my two colleagues probably are thinking, that I'm asking a stupid question, but I'm going to go ahead and ask a stupid question. Hopefully, it won't be too bad. Do we, these roads are built to urban standards, pretty much, and we have a system in place for maintenance of rural roads, okay? And those are different types of construction, as I understand. I'm not really sure how they're different, but I know that they are different. Seeing how they were being built when I would go by there, I know that, they dug down deep and they laid a bunch of base, and it was an extensive construction effort that was involved there at Cameron Park that the contractor had to build these roads. But if we have in place a rural road maintenance program, assuming that the city doesn't incorporate Brownsville, which, who knows what they're gonna do, right? Do we have in place a maintenance program that would be able to maintain these urban standard roads to the level that they need to be maintained to last as long as possible?
The urban roads should be easier to maintain because they are built to a higher standard than rural roads. And they do have curb and gutter, as opposed to drainage ditches on the side, which allows grass and stuff to creep into the roadway, which creates problems and is harder to maintain. And they shouldn't need any regular maintenance for several years, but we do need to have something in place at that time to be able to maintain them. Usually, a good urban road will need a good maintenance on a 7-year cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about maintenance, what are we talking about? An
Overlay, something like that.
And do we have the ability to do an overlay?
Yes.
Well, now we're getting there. Let's put it this way, Judge. I've been here 2 years. Of course, I've been here prior to that, but we come a long ways. I Our standards really are good standards for construction. We pretty much follow TxDOT. Cameron Park is of course an urbanized section there, and it meets all the standards that TxDOT requires. So that's the ultimate model for road construction. Because you have curb and gutter, underground drainage, like the Commissioner was saying, pretty much maintenance-free after you accept it. And in that case there, Cameron Park, if the city wanted to annex, it should be ready for annexation at any time because of the way it was constructed. And so that's not a problem. Getting to the rural roads, and as the Commissioner was saying, it requires a little bit more maintenance periodically. We don't have a maintenance crew at this time. I was talking to Pete, and maybe that we ought to develop a maintenance crew specifically for maintaining, seal coating, mowing, cleaning up, borrowed ditches, that sort of thing for drainage on a regular routine basis per county-wide area. So we don't have it yet. We're working towards that. But even our rural road standards, construction-wise, we're doing a lot better, and I think we're getting there now where we used to do a lot of surface treatment, which is that gravel surface on it, and upgrade it really now to hot mix because we do have the machinery to do it. We're gaining the expertise now in the field. Mr. Ara, since he's been on board, Public Works Superintendent, has come a long ways in instructing and teaching the work crews how to properly construct the road. And so you'll see those differences as we get along and get more experience, but you'll see the quality of the construction out there if you go out and see some of the roads, how they were before. And so before we were just kind of patching up and going on and maintaining. Now we're constructing so that we have a little bit more, what do you call it, longevity. And so we're constructing maybe for 3 or 4 or 5 years, and then we got to come back and overlay and seal some of the cracks and stuff like that. So I think we're getting there, Judge, but we're not completely there, and I think it's going to take us a little bit more time and develop another crew and that sort of thing. But we're doing a lot of what we call reclaiming of the materials that are on the roads already, so we save a lot of money. That way we utilize what's already there, the base material, and maybe even the gravel, and we mix it with this new mixer that we all acquired recently. It's been a great tool to use, and so we're reconstructing those roads, reclaiming the materials, saving money, and then just overlaying. But that's pretty much an insight of
one
that.
example of that will be Juarez subdivision that is gonna, or will be starting next week, I believe, right?
Next week.
Yeah, and that's an urban section road that exists in that area. But in the reconstruction process that they're utilizing, they're reclaiming everything that's there and utilizing the gutters that exist there and just overlaying the road after reclaiming the materials. So that's gonna be, cause that's about the only section in all the roads in my precinct
Yeah,
that is an urban section road.
Yes.
And
we just inherited it.
I think it was built by the subdivision
Themselves,
development.
but after a time, it just, it's
So we
not
just
up to
inherited
standards.
that,
Yeah.
But now it's in such poor shape that now they're doing some of the required infrastructure and, of course, reclaiming and repaving.
Yes, sir.
That's gonna be a good project
good
to
project.
test.
Okay.
And in conclusion, just to finish up the second sheet, which is the second call, as you know, TxDOT cut back on some of the funding like I said, the first call we had 10 million. This year we only had a little over $70 million to spend. And the criteria set by TxDOT on the second call is that, and the rule of thumb is that you're not to spend more than $200,000 per mile, and that includes road materials and drainage. And so when we made our initial estimates, we were a little bit over that because we weren't counting on all drainage and road materials being as one unit, 200,000 per mile. So we're going to try to work it out. We'll stretch it out. But basically, we had a little over $7 million. So if you look, $7 million to spend. Out of that, of course, and I'll go down the list pretty quick. If you look at your column there on the names of the colonias, you have Encantada, Tierra Bonita, Lozano, Lago, Esperanza, Esparza, 1 and 2, Arroyo Colorado Estates, and Juarez. Those are 7 colonias that we'll be doing shortly, and we're starting off with Juarez and then some of the smaller projects. It'll be a total of about 9 miles, and we're going to spend a little over 2.3 million on that, okay, on road construction. We're going to try to set up a second work crew so that we can expedite these projects. Mr. Adams in the process of putting the second crew together so we can start working on that. And so we'll have basically 2 working crews running these projects. The second part of the second call, which is a competitive part of the project that was selected, of course, it was Olmito, a big project. It's going to be about a year's project. We're not going to bid it out. We're going to do it in-house with that second crew. And that's going to take about 6, 8, maybe 9 months to finish, almost a year. And so we're going to do the first projects over here on the top part first, and you'll see the dates there at the end of the column to your right there. It tells you the approximate dates of starting construction and the times allotted for completion. But Olmito will have, let me see, a little over 9.5 miles of roads. That's one of the bigger ones that we're going to be doing. And we're going to spend there a little over $3 million, as a matter of fact, about 3.4 estimated. And then, of course, the last one on the bottom there is not the last, but it's a Ruth River Harding subdivision. That's in Laguna Heights. We didn't get all the money that we needed from there, but we are going to get a little over 800,000 to do the last part of the west of the east side drainage, and then the north side, Michigan Boulevard, all that drainage and road improvements, which it'll conclude pretty much.
Have we thought about doing the rural drainage system where you bury the pipes and that kind of stuff, where you're going to have the ditches?
Well, in Laguna Heights, you already spent about $1 million plus on one side of the drains, right?
I understand that.
And then
the problem we got in Laguna Heights, that it's the same problem we had in Cameron Park, is that those ditches prevent people from parking. And we had thought about, at one point there was a discussion where we would go, I don't want, what do you call it, a
Rural cross-section versus urban section.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a different name for when you put pipes and then you have a kind of drainage.
That's urban. Urban.
What you do is you drop the system down,
Yeah.
the commission, judge, from collecting.
But without curb and gutter.
Oh, without curb and gutter.
Yeah, we had talked about it for Laguna Heights for a while because of the problem that we have with the ditches.
Well, you can still put pipes and cover them up, but instead of having a bar ditch, you'll have a pipe in the bar ditch. And
Right.
it gives you room for storage or parking or whatever, but
And are we gonna
that's
try-
more expensive.
Are we gonna try to do that?
No, because there's not gonna be any monies for that here.
See,
We're barely gonna
after
cover
the first call, TxDOT cut that out.
Yeah, we're only gonna get
Changed some of the
200,000 per,
They
again, per
changed the
mile,
rules.
max. And if it exceeds that, then it's out
It's
of the
like,
counties.
Well,
it's
how
like
much-
in Olmito, we estimated instead of 3 million, it's gonna be over 6 million.
Yes.
But because of TxDOT's rule changes, we're only gonna get about half of what
Half
we
of
really
that.
need. So we're not gonna be burying any pipes there either. We're gonna continue to have bar ditches, which is
And
unfortunate.
it was cut drastically at the last,
Well, Olmito's got a little wider streets to work with than.
yeah, then. But we'll try to maintain a 22-foot wide paved road, at least that much on all roads.
One thing we have done there is, if the residents have provided the pipes, we've extended what exists and buried them, and that way it gives them a little more area to park on.
That pretty much concludes the presentation, the status of the Colonia projects. I'd be glad to answer any questions if you all have any. If not,
Would
please.
you update this
Yes.
compared to this deal
Sure,
and
I
provide
can.
us a copy?
Sure,
with it,
and I
please?
apologize that should have been done already in there, but we just, so I'll do that and hand them out to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Officer. Is there a motion to acknowledge presentation?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Wood. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Budget amendment, line item transfers and/or salary schedules. Any questions, concerns, comments, complaints? Do I hear a motion on that?
No, so moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Wood. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Minutes, are you ready on the minutes?
I am.
Motion.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Garcia. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 6, consideration possible approval of participating in South Texas Judges and Commissioners Association.
Judge,
Five.
the claims item.
Oh, I'm sorry, claims.
I have a list of additional claims that were submitted.
Okay.
Move to approve with the additional list that was presented, Judge.
Second.
I didn't have any.
You don't have any.
No? Okay. Motion by Commissioner Garza, second by Commissioner Wood. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. 6, I read it already.
Okay. Judge, I'm just requesting that these dues be paid on an annual basis. Depending on the year and fiscal year, we don't actually have it in our budget, so we want to go ahead and place it in the budget along with TBIC and.
But aren't we the members, or aren't we members already?
It's subject to
I went
when they
last year.
go.
I went the year before.
We were there before.
So
Huh?
it-
They didn't
it's-
throw us
Are we
out.
not members now or what?
I don't know, I think.
We owe the
are.
dues, in other words.
How much are the dues?
$225, and it'll be taken out of. general
$225
A year.
So-
per commissioner or what?
No, just per
total.
year.
Total?
Total.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Garcia. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. 7, consideration possible.
They've asked if we could defer on 7 until some information can arrive.
Today?
They're expecting some handouts from the Parks Department. They're just asking if we can delay consideration of it till. it
Okay.
arrives.
Oh, but you want to do it today?
Yes, yes.
8, consideration approval of interlocal agreement among the City of Brownsville, Cameron County Drainage District Number 3, Valley Municipal Utility District Number 2, and the community of Los Fresnos. This is a Department of Transportation item. Hello.
Richard.
Anybody here?
You know,
Remy?
it's a routine.
While not fully briefed on the subject, I can tell you that the agreement that's in place is, it's a drainage project that the 5 districts are working to, I'm sorry, the 4 or 5 entities are working to do. It doesn't require any match from the county. The City of Brownsville is going to be the lead sponsor for the purpose of the agreement. And it's going to perform all the administrative duties, and that it will provide the 20,000 in-kind services from the Texas. It's a grant from the Texas Water Development Board in the amount of $64,583, and they're just looking for an agreement between all the entities.
The grant, I visited with Ben Medina yesterday and the city manager. I was visiting with the city manager, and Ben came over and brought this. I wasn't aware he was going to bring it. But actually, the grant is $84,500. The city of Brownsville is looking at a matching of $64,000 in cash and $20,000 in kind, and they're going to be looking to the other participants to see if they can help in buffering the $64,000 in cash grant that they have to make as a match, because it's a 50-50 match. This is what, and I think you can see in the local share of cost will be responsibility of Brownsville, and is projected to cost $64,583 in cash and $20,000 in kind. And they are going to be looking for some help on the $64,583 in cash. Now, there are, besides the city of Brownsville, there's Cameron County Drainage District Number 1, Cameron County Drainage District Number 3, Valley Mud 2, and Los Fresnos, which, you know, if all of us pitch in, with the city of Brownsville, it's not a.
But the agreement doesn't
large amount.
require
But
an
this,
amount.
at this time, there's no.
It doesn't require,
So
but
can
I'm
we-
telling you it's going to happen.
Can we cross that drainage ditch when we get to it?
Be glad to.
Well, it's just that it'll be, you know, it said it will be the responsibility of Brownsville.
Yes.
So I figured that, I move we approve that.
I'm just telling you it's coming back,
Okay.
so we know. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Wood. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Consent items 10 through
Can we see number 9?
Oh, I'm sorry, 9. Consideration possible approval regarding the inclusion of RGV Educational Broadcasting Incorporated KMBH on the jury donation. House Bill 1886 high.
Good morning. We are here
on behalf of RGV Educational Broadcasting to see if you would consider adding us to the jury donation House bill. I had provided some folders with some general information, and KMBH provides a valuable service for the children of the Rio Grande Valley, and in order to keep that service going and to broaden our service, we request to be added to that.
I talked to Aurora yesterday, and she said that we have room for one more. And I believe that, you know, KMBH does provide a valuable service to the community in the area of education, children's programming, educational programming, across the board, in almost every category, from Sesame Street
To local government?
local government issues and so forth. So we think this, I believe it's a great thing, and given the fact that we've been notified by Aurora that we do have room for one more on the list. That's it, that's the last one, is what she told me.
So moved, Judge.
I'd like for us to recommend that we do this. I'd like to recommend that we do this. So there's a motion by Commissioner Garza. Second?
I'll second.
And there's a second by Commissioner Wood. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much, Judge.
Thank you.
Okay, consent items 10 through 24. Any questions, concerns, comments, complaints?
There's a constable here on item 15.
And Judge, on 16, we just need to table that because it was left over from last week. So we don't need that one.
Okay,
If the constable isn't here, I'm going to vote against item 15. I'm just going to kind of take the posture that if the constable isn't here to request that for reserve deputies, then I'm not going to.
can we just table it till we get them over here?
At least give him a chance to
Yeah.
tell him about your new rules, John.
Well, I think Mr. Villarreal called him last week and told him about my new idea.
Oh, so he knew already?
Well, I don't see, Mr. Villarreal, did you get a hold of the constable last week?
I sure did.
So he knew that,
Today was
Oh,
the night.
vote for it.
okay,
Constable Burnes?
yeah.
I'm surprised he's not here.
He usually.
Well, we'll just tell him that, look, I think that it's probably a good idea. And I'll tell you why. There was a story about us approving some deputy the other day that had a charge pending against him. And somehow the Herald, as it usually does, didn't provide complete information on this to the public. And what they said was that we approved it, suggesting that we knew that he had pending criminal charges against him. And no one up here knew about any of that, and it was never brought to anybody's attention. It was not in the application. No one got any phone calls. And so what I think we can probably do in the future to avoid, I don't think you can avoid the Brownsville Herald misrepresenting to the public, but because they do that as a matter of course. But what we can do in the future is, when a constable comes up with a reserve deputy that we want to approve, we need to just have them here and make the request, and then we can ask, is there anything that we need to know about this individual that, that is pending against them that we're not aware? And if he says no, then that means that he doesn't know anything about it, and then we can move forward.
We don't know anything, we can move forward.
And I think that's probably the best way to approach it. And I think that John is right, that Commissioner Wood's right, that we need him up here to make this request. And in other times they were always coming up. In other times they always made, because for a while we were kind of strict about approving or not approving these things without them making their presentations. And then we just started approving them as a matter of course when the applications were submitted. But I think we need to get back to this and just have them and having them tell us this. Okay?
I will advise them at the time that they apply, that they bring me the information, that they need to be present.
Yeah.
You will advise them?
Well, I will tell them when they come in to bring me the documents, that they want to get this person approved for reserve or regular deputy. I'll tell them that we're going to put it in the agenda after we do the background check.
But I think that we have two different standards, because here we are for a reserve deputy constable asking them to come in, but yet they request an unmarked car and they get an unmarked car. So, You know, I mean, and I know it's a different issue, but, you know, we've got people running around out there with unmarked cars all over the county in the Constable area.
We can request
I mean,
that they be
and-
here before us to request that and tell us why they need it. What
I
they're
thought
gonna
they
do.
did. I thought they were required to be here for that. kind
They
of-
haven't.
Well, I think that we should need to require all these things.
I would like to move to approve the appointment of this gentleman on number 15 as an individual item, Judge.
Can it pass with a 2-3 vote?
A 2-3
There's a-
vote?
Two, 1 vote?
2-1, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
it's a
that's a majority of the members present.
Even
We've
if
got
it's
a quorum,
if
so
it's
yeah.
less than a
Two.
quorum of a full commission? it's
Right,
fine.
yes.
All right, well then I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Judge.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. But in the future, would you tell them that we won't have this problem and it'll be a unanimous thing and have them come in? Okay? All right. Okay,
I have a question on 24.
yes, sir.
Why are we going through Public Works instead of the park system?
That's Boca Chica Beach.
Right, but, I mean, shouldn't
We don't ever-
you don't,
We don't maintain Boca Chica.
Public Works does.
Public Works says they do the maintenance.
They always have.
So they
Okay.
submit
yeah, but shouldn't it be yours though? I mean, no?
I know it's come up, in the past.
I'm just, you know,
Do we want to give it to them?
Commissioner Benavides is the one that did originally take the lead on this.
on this, I know, but shouldn't the parks?
Well, let me just tell you that it's not county property, it's not park system property, it's all belongs to the state and federal government and a couple of small landowners that are there. Really, this should be cleaned up by the state and the federal government, but Pete decided on his own to send out public works people from the warehouse in Brownsville. Well, actually, it started with precinct 1 people, but then eventually, since when we consolidated, he'd send out the warehouse people to do that, and that's why it's done that way. And I think really, we don't have the resources to be able to do it in the county. It's not, we don't have a beach access funds that we're able to collect to maintain it with. What? I guess we can't do that, right, over there?
No.
Also,
It
on-
could be done, it's just, remember, like 8 years ago, when public didn't want us to charge, and that's when we presented the other route, is trying to build a park out there with state funds and not charge.
Also on the application, on number 4, it says that the applicant provides free entrance to all public beaches within its jurisdiction. So I think we need to somehow clarify that, because we don't. Obviously, we charge on South Padre Island, so
You're talking about
on the
item 24 now,
yes,
right?
item 24. So I'll talk to Pete on that, just to make sure that they're aware, that the state's
And I don't
aware
have a
that-
problem with it, I just wanted to know
Right.
why we,
Well, I just want to make sure the state's aware that we do charge on South Padre Island.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
No.
On any other consent items? So we're gonna table item number 16. So do I hear a motion to approve items 10 through 14 and items 16 through 24? Is there a motion?
So moved.
And table items, table item 16 and approve items 17 to 24. That's the motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Wood. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by stating aye. Aye, all opposed, motion carries. Okay,
and that included travel. Judge.
that included travel, that was
Yes.
the motion, and that was the second.
25.
Okay, are you ready for us on item number 7?
Judge, Commissioners, the reason I put this item on the agenda is what we need to do is the county's going to receive some coastal impact assistance program money, like we did 4 years ago, and it's going to be roughly twice as much as we received 4 years ago. So what I want to do is we need to prioritize how we're going to use those funds. It's approximately going to be about $1 million. And there's certain restrictions of how we can use that money. I'll read off some of the items. It's 6 items that we can target or we can be eligible for. 1 is to restore, protect, and enhance coastal natural resources. 2 is to improve water quality. 3, enhance public access. 4 is improve onshore infrastructure and environmental management. Number 5 is mitigate erosion and stabilize shorelines. And 6 is educate the public on the importance of coastal natural resources. The deadline, we need to submit, there's 2 parts to this. We're going to get the county portion of the CAP money, and then there's state money that's available that we can apply for. And if we apply for the state CAP money, we have to submit a nomination form, and that's due on June the 20th. So we want to kind of get direction from the court and see which ones we want to apply for. And
Let me, okay.
well, it's 100%, so there's no match from the county.
Let me, we have a request from the city of Port Isabel that they're planning to, they own some property, bayfront property adjacent to Derry Elementary School off of North Shore Drive and 2nd Street. In their letter, it says, this property has been designated as a future waterfront park within the city's master plan for over 10 years. The vision for the site is a coastal community park complete with walking trails, a bird watch overlook, public gardens, piers, a boardwalk, restrooms, facilities, restroom facilities, a pavilion, a boat ramp, kayak launch, and an outdoor amphitheater for educational lectures and cultural performances. Asking for us to I guess, put their park within our priority list. I believe that's what they do, because they want $200,000 out of whatever money we get in the future from this coastal impact assistance program. And I think, you know, that based upon the history of partnerships on parks with different communities like the Platte Valley on our birding center project, and now we're working with Rio Hondo and building a park out there. We're working with Santa Rosa and building a Boys and Girls Club in the park that we have over there as well. That this is something I believe that would work perfectly within the intent of this program, because I promise you that if you build a waterfront park in Port Isabel of the nature that's being described by the city manager, Mr. Garcia, in the letter that he sent us, that's going to be a community park used by, waterfront park used by all the residents of our county, since what he describes is something that I would love to go to. I live in Brownsville, but it'd be nice to go out there and kind of hang out, take your family out there and use it. So I would like to see us place this park within the list of priorities. We have listed Boca Chica Beach Park, but we don't have a park there. I mean, and maybe we can substitute this park in that priority list, and make a commitment to provide, over a couple of year period. I think we get about $1 million a year or something like this.
For 4 years.
$100,000 each year for a couple of, to then have $200,000 towards that park, assuming that y'all build it, right? But I just think this is a real good partnership that we could engage in that would really enhance our park system in the county, particularly our waterfront parks that we try to encourage as much as possible. Do you have a problem with that?
No.
Okay, good. Did you want to say something, ma'am?
No, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Jill Francisco. I do economic development for the city of Port Isabel, and I came today to see if you guys would be willing to enter in a partnership with us. But you've done a wonderful job of giving the presentation yourself, Judge. If you have any other questions or anything that I can clarify, I'd be willing to do that at this point. We also are going to be seeking the county funds on our own. We just wanted to see if maybe we could be listed on, on your list of prioritized projects to see if we could get some.
That's what I'm
What is,
proposing.
Yes.
what is the total cost of that park for the city? What are
We're
they?
working on some estimates right now. It's going to be, well over $1 million because of the fact that we're going to need to put seawalls and some fill, and it's pretty much extensive development. It's a 13-acre parcel. It's located in the Dairy neighborhood behind where the old
Yeah.
Walmart is. I'm sure you're very familiar. It's been planned to be a park for over 10 years by the city of Port Isabel, and we're hoping that now we can get the momentum and get some funding together and really get it accomplished. So it's going to be, I don't have a hard figure now. We're working with our engineers to get that so we can submit our nomination form as well.
I just hate to see us going to put in Boca Chica Beach project as a first priority. And I don't know if it's first or not, but you have it first until, when we don't, we've tried in the past to do something there and have not been able to get the cooperation of either the state,
It's been
U.S.
on
Fish
wheels
Life,
there all the
I mean,
time.
over and over and over again,
We had a
And,
commitment. We had a commitment from the Texas Parks and Wildlife for a matching grant on $500,000 that we had. I think for the same program or something similar to this that we got from the Land Commission's office. They were willing to give us a match of $500,000. We went. I think Javier and I went up to Austin, met with the executive director. They were really excited about the project. We had a design for it. Everything was ready to go, and we never were able to get the U.S. Fish and Wildlife to just give us a long-term lease, not give us the property, give us a 99-year lease on the property so that we could. And the development that we were proposing was a development that was going to preserve the characteristics of the beach now, but just provide some amenities behind the dunes. Was having bathrooms and a little wildlife interactive center. What do you call it, Renee?
Interpretive.
Huh?
Interpretive
center where people could go see what kind of wildlife we had there. A guard station, a little section setting a part of the children's beach so the kids wouldn't be in danger of getting run over. And we had a couple of palapas, low impact kind of things. And they never ever got back to us. And it's been 4 years, 5 years now, and they still haven't gotten back to us. So I just think Commissioner Grass is right. I mean, we need to move on. This proposal is a really good proposal, and we have someone, Laura Garza, that wants to speak.
Yes.
And if you want to go ahead and.
She's with this one.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Laura de la Garza, and I'm
De la Garza,
watershed.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'm watershed coordinator for the Arroyo Colorado Watershed Partnership, and we have been working on a plan for 2 years to develop, a plan to clean up the Arroyo. And the top priority of the plan is constructed wetlands of different sizes and shapes. We're looking at possibly regional systems and then even smaller system that can treat like effluent from wastewater treatment plants. The problem with the Arroyo is too high nutrients. And the nutrients are coming from our agricultural fields, down our drainage ditches. It's coming from our wastewater treatment plants. And what, like I said, what our group has decided is that wetlands are the best option. So as Javier said, there's state money and there's county money. And we are going to apply for some state money to do a feasibility study. We know we need them, but we need a detailed where to site them, how much they're actually going to cost, a good engineering design. And so we will be applying for the state funds, and it's about a $250,000 feasibility study that we're going to be applying for, and we're asking that the county possibly consider some of their funds if they could contribute. It would give more strength to our application, and this is just the first step. I mean, this is a long-term thing. First thing is the feasibility study, and then we'll have to do land acquisition and then actual construction. So I work for Texas Sea Grant, Texas A&M University, and we are under contract with the state of Texas, the TCEQ, to develop this plan. The Arroyo is an impaired water body of the state, and right now there's a volunteer effort to clean it up. If the state sees that we are making progress in cleaning up the Arroyo, they will not come down with state mandates. Could mean tighter limitations on wastewater treatment plants and possibly even the drainage districts, because they're considered point sources of pollution. So actually what part of the feasibility study would be some demonstration projects in some of these ditches to try to see if we could make mini wetlands out of them so they could clean up the water before it enters the Arroyo. But this is, like I said, we're just taking the first step, which is the feasibility study.
But do they want a matching amount or what?
No, well, for this CEAP money, there's not a match. But if...
Where do you need money from the county for?
Well, I guess, okay, then it is taking some of the county funds, yes, so it would be a match. It'd be a portion of the fund. And
what is the match?
We're asking for about, 50,000, 25,000. 25,000 would just anything that would go to it would show support for our bigger project.
But is that a requirement of the grant? Is what I'm asking.
Yes, it is. It's.
But what is the matching amount required for the grant?
Oh, there's no match requirement. It's just there's a slot on the application that says how much of the county funds will be allocated for this study.
What happens, Judge, they'll have higher
It's a point
consideration,
system.
Right.
If they get a match or if they get some type of donation.
Other participants in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, and
But
we are.
we don't. You're not asking that we apply from the Coastal Impact Program, are you? Or yes?
She's asking that we commit $25,000 of what we're going to get.
From the county money.
Our commitment to their project, and I think they have an excellent project, Judge. I know that I've met with Laura and visited a meeting or two, and they're doing an excellent job of bringing awareness of a major problem that exists, that if it's not taken care of, TCEQ will come in and take care of it for us, and we know usually what that means, That means a lot of cost to the county, to the local municipalities, and to the local, even the farming community, anybody that has a point of entry into the system.
And the EPA has been very generous. I mean, they've been watching this project. They want to help us, and so, but they need to see partnerships. And we have most of the cities up and down the valley are part of our partnership and have pledged to build these some wetlands, Upper Valley, to treat their effluent before it goes into the Arroyo. So, we have a big partnership, and as we show that, then we're more likely to get grants. We're going to be applying for other grants, and there's other monies out there, but this is just, this is one of the grants because to help get us in the right direction.
Judge, would we be able to use if the county were to commit funds, would we be able to use those as supplemental environment projects to offset any fines or things that TCEQ has been so willing to levy against us?
I don't think you could use their own money that they're giving us to.
How's she going to give you that answer?
No.
We can ask.
No.
Well, because if we can defer some of those penalties, Judge, it would be helpful.
Yeah.
I understand that, but we should not make our commitment conditional upon that. I think David is right in the sense that this is something that we really need to start working on. And it's an issue that we've not been involved in, but eventually it's going to come back to us. So,
well, I know that at least 2 commissioners have been involved with Laura, and that's, Commissioner Tamayo and myself. We've had meetings with her. You've come and briefed us on your work. I don't know.
I've been meaning to meet you to tell you a little bit more about the project.
It's all right. I'm just the county judge.
No, they've called your office, Judge.
Okay. Hey, do we have to re-list these priorities here?
No, if you just tell me what you want.
We just add them there?
We could maybe send a letter.
Do we take out Boca Chica Park, or do you want to leave them in anyway? I want to add the Port Isabel waterfront park.
I'd
like to add this project to it as well. And then we'll give you a commitment letter that says, when it comes time, that says we'll commit to the 25,000 out of the coastal impact assistance.
All right, well, thank you. And just one other comments, that these wetlands can double as parks, as trails, as nature centers, so they can serve, multiple functions, cleaning water, and then also parks and trails and education.
Thank you. Okay, is that it?
No, Judge, on
So
the
we
book-
had those two.
Yes.
Do we have to take any amount, or does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter.
Because we can
Because-
decide once we get the money what we're gonna spend it on, right?
Right. We just need to have a plan by September of what projects we're actually going to submit for. And by that time, we'll know more or less, or more exactly how much money we're going to be receiving. Because they say it's going to be around $1 million. But just,
Possibly more.
it could be more. Just depending on the royalties, whatever comes in.
Okay.
On Boca Chica Beach, we met with Fish and Wildlife last week, and they're having a meeting with Texas Parks and Wildlife, I think on the 22nd, Jeff? Yes, 22nd. And what they're going to be talking about is Boca Chica Beach. What they're wanting to do is figure out a way how they can transfer that property over to Fish and Wildlife. And that's why I thought it was a good idea we included in this project, is
Saying
we went after it.
Texas Parks and Wildlife is trying to figure out how they can transfer it to U.S. Fish and Wildlife.
Mhm. Yeah, because
But that's what they've been trying.
I know, I
That's
understand.
like 5 years,
Right.
man,
And what they're wanting to do is give it over to the Fish and Wildlife as a lease, a long-term lease.
That's what they were saying.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
you said they're meeting next week, you need to know by September. I think there's plenty of
I
time.
signed a letter to them
I understand.
years ago.
And I just thought, we really need a park out there or some type of
I don't have a problem
visibility.
keeping it in there. I just don't want people to think that that
Something's happening.
something gonna happen here, or that we haven't tried to make it happen. I think the consensus with these commissions, with the commissioners' courts that have been here since I've been here, has always been that this is something that we need to do within certain limits. I mean, our presence there has to be very, very, very limited. But we've been shot down every time that we try. So, okay.
On the other one, Judge, is I think that's very important, is the shoreline stabilization over at Adolph Tomei. We were only able to stabilize 850 feet, linear feet, and there's 4,200 linear feet of area that needs to be, where we need to put some type of bulkheading. So what we want to do is we want to use the majority of the money that's coming from CAP for that shoreline stabilization.
Are you I have a question. I saw where you started the work already on the west end.
Mhm.
Is what you're pushing off into the water gonna be recaptured?
Well, part of it.
Yes?
Part of it, because what
I mean, because there's some obstructions there that could possibly be dangerous for boaters and things of that sort.
Oh, you're talking about what's on the
other
outs-
side.
On the other side. Yeah,
It
all that's going to be cleaned up.
It's gonna be cleaned up?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause you talk
that's
about-
it. Yeah, that's my
There's
only
some
question.
riprap and
Yeah,
stuff.
there's cement and stuff.
And then the other thing that we want to do over there at Tomei, Judge, is use part of the CAP money, and whether it's state or county, was for a match to Parks and Wildlife for an extra boat ramp. Over there at Tomei, it gets really busy. We want to build 2 more ramps and more parking out there, and of course improve the existing parking and boat.
Do we
ramps.
have the area to improve, to increase the parking already leased?
Yes, it's already leased. And you can see in the drawing that's on in the backup, it's on the, see if I got my bearings, on the west side of the existing parking lot.
Okay, that's fine. Is that it? Huh?
No, well, the other ones that I had here was, Judge, with the El Ranchito. I'm not sure you remember on the plans that we had, we were gonna buy that, we're looking at that property behind Ms. Domansky's house. There was a little low area, and we're thinking about building it to a lake, and I think y'all had decided y'all didn't want to build a wetland or anything there.
Well, I don't think that's really been discussed. I mean, I went to go see it,
And what could happen?
I want us to engage in a discussion on this, because there's a disagreement, I think, as to what we do on it.
Okay, what could happen is we could buy land with this property. So,
Well, if that's the case, I'd like to see Laureles included in your package.
Okay.
We've talked and talked and talked. We've seen some property slip through our hands that was very, very fairly priced. There's some new owners that I think are willing to work with us that bought a major piece of property out there in acquiring those pieces. And, you know, I mean, I think you should, you know, we've been down the road there.
And I gave a map to Remy to show to the judge on some property out there. It seems pretty good, tract of land.
We're going to be able to discuss also next week some additional property that we might be able to partnership with an entity to do a park without any cost to us for land at all, and maybe share cost on, and probably share cost on any facilities that might be there, which will provide a park for a lot of rural residents in Precinct 2.
Is that on Dana?
No, it's going to be on 281 at 1421.
From San Pedro.
Yeah, San Pedro.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Joe?
The only thing was Bahia Grande. We met with Brownsville Navigation District on the Bahia Ancha, and in the back gives you a cost for that one and the actual permanent channel for the Bahia Grande. But I just think that one of the important ones is I would like to use the remainder of the $1 million that we get that's guaranteed is for the shoreline stabilization at Tame Park. And if I understand you, Judge, correctly, you want to give $100,000 to Port Isabel?
Well, maybe on the second and third years of the project, because we need to use, remember we talked, Joe, about using the first $1 million on I thought we wanted to do the Bahia Grande.
Well, I think, the Bahia Grande, I think, it's just my personal feeling is we're losing a lot of land over at Tame Park, and if we don't try to protect the infrastructure that's there, you know, in the next year or two, we may lose a lot more.
Well, let's look at that. We don't have to make a decision right now, right?
No.
But I think that the Bahia Grande, you know, as you well know, we're getting some commitments from other folks also. You know, we don't have to put all our.
That's why I'm saying we don't need to make a decision right now. We have an application.
The only thing is, Judge, on the nomination form, it does state there if we're gonna be seeking, on this project, says they're gonna be seeking county CIAT funds. And.
What's CIAT?
That's the money we're talking about.
Yes, you have to submit a nomination form first for this project. Now, if you get selected, then you submit an application to the state.
Yeah, like I'm saying, we don't have to make any decisions. It depends on where we're at. If we get the funding on the Bahia, I submitted an application to Congress for special funding for the permanent channel. I mean, all those things. The indications I've gotten from the different offices that we've approached is that they're very interested in funding this project. So we may have all that taken care of with that money, and then we'll just sit down and see what we need to do. It depends upon your timing in terms of when you get your funding, whether you get your funding, whether you get your enough funding, whether it's the first year, whether it's the second year. Right now, we don't have to make any decision on any of these things. All we need to do is submit them and at least list
nominate
them. They're in there. And then when time comes for a decision, what I'm telling you is that I think it's a good project for us to invest in, to be partnering with you on, and that we should make a commitment eventually, whatever point it's necessary, to the tune of $200,000 in 2 phases. Whether it's the first year or second year or third year, we don't know.
When you need it.
When you need it, when it comes time, we'll do it. See? Okay.
So put us down as participating.
Okay. Yeah. Just submit our name. I mean, we're in.
Ready.
Estamos ahí.
Okay. Thanks.
So, Judge, if I understand correct, on the you want us to nominate the ones that we talked about?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you were not here when I spoke earlier about Brownsville Hermoso Park. I know that's not here, but I went there last Sunday. Not this Sunday, but the one before that, after church, and it's all trashed out. We really need to put some bar doors in front of the bathrooms, because people are going in there. It was ugly, man. I almost threw up. Okay, and so we've got, you know, Yvette's dad lives down the street. Give him the keys. Have him go by in the morning before he goes into the office to unlock the bathrooms, and in the evening to go there and lock them up, and, you know, you can get some time. But we need to close up those bathrooms in the evenings because it was really bad. And, I don't know what to do. I really want us to fence out that park. Fence up fence up the basic portion of the park. People are going in there and doing graffiti. You know, I noticed that they tore out some doors on the baseball field, some gates out there. I mean, they're just really making a mess of this park, and it's a beautiful park, and it's very, very, very upsetting. So, I want you to go and find the money and come back to us and put some metal doors on those bathrooms now. Do that now.
Okay, we can do that.
And get back to us on a cost estimate to fence the main body of the park out, so that we have a gate in the front, and at night, and we'll, you know, we can get one of the residents out there. We've got a constable. We have a constable that lives in that area, that patrols that area, that works for Constable Ochoa, that can just go by there in the morning, open it up, and in the evening close it down. You know, I mean, it just needs to be done. I'm sorry it's not on the agenda, but I got to get y'all to do this.
But we met with the Port Isabel Police Department and with Mr. Ochoa, and he gave us a schedule, and he was telling us when he patrols over at Brownie Road. And
you minimize the need for patrols if you put a fence there. Let's just go find out what a fence is going to cost, and let's get it in there, and let's put the gates in front of the bathrooms, and just let's get it in there. And
we already have costs on what it would take to fence Brownie Road. 'Cause that's what we want to do with all the parks, is fence them.
Well, let's start with Brownie Road, because it's a brand new park.
Also, on Cameron Park, I heard you speaking earlier about, we put a fence up to cable.
Yeah.
What happened is when the contractor went out and cleaned that lot next door where he was storing his stuff, he pulled that cable out that divided our property from there. So we're gonna have to go back and put another cable. 'Cause I went by last time.
Tell them not to be doing that stuff, man. I mean, Jesus Christ. That's the problem, right? That's where they're coming in.
Right.
They're coming in through that other end where he keeps all of his stuff, and then they're crossing over to go watch these soccer games.
Right.
Most of the people that go to these soccer games don't even live in Cameron Park, you know? And they're going out there and they're driving their cars on top of the sidewalk, they're driving their cars on top of the park. You know, Sheriff, that's another thing you might want to do, is send your patrol guys out there and start ticketing these guys in the evenings and drive their cars up there.
Get your contractor, call the contractor.
But we cannot have them taking their cars up there on top of this park. That's not your fault.
No, we're going to go back and fix that, because I noticed that last time when I was driving home, I saw that they pulled out the cable and those cars parked there. So we're going to go out there and replace that cable.
The most frustrating thing in the world.
Judge,
Haces cosas buenas y no te las cuidas, you know?
just to let you know that there's been some vandalism occurring there at De Laguna Heights Park. A lot of graffiti. And we met, Javier and I and Jim met with the constable and with the police department this past Thursday. And I got a call Saturday from the Port Isabel Police Department that they arrested 2 teenagers for graffiti in the park, and they have 2 more that they're looking at. So
I want to make sure that they.
It's nice to arrest them, but they need to do something too.
Well, what we're looking at, they're asking if they want to suppress charges.
Yes.
And then.
And we expect them to take some severe action against these
And also, we might have them go out there and clean.
It's real frustrating to build facilities like this for everyone to use, and a group of a few people go out and destroy it to where no one wants to use it.
Exactly, and it's a beautiful park. It's
Very.
We need them to throw the book at them, just like they did in St. Charles Park. When they first built it, they went after those kids that did the graffiti, and then they stopped doing anything, and so they went back and messed up the park again. I mean, it's a beautiful park, you know, and now they finally, it came on the paper, they're gonna reopen it today.
We're meeting with the chief of police later on today.
Tell them that we want the book thrown at those people, you know? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the list of priorities contained in the list with the additions?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Wood. For discussion, all prepared to signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Motion to go in executive session. Is there any supplemental items? No. Motion to go in executive session.
So moved.
By Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Wood. Any further discussion? All those prepared to signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We're now in executive session pursuant to VTCA Government Code Section 551.071. A, B, and 2, 551.0712, 551.072. That's it. second by Commissioner Garza, second by Commissioner Wood. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 27A, possible action on confer with Commissioner Court Legal Counsel concerning Cameron County with Faulkner USA, formerly known as Landmark, approval of settlement agreement. Motion to acknowledge report of counsel.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Garza. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 27B, possible action on confer with Commissioner Court Legal Counsel concerning issues regarding the Cameron County Detention Centers and Cameron County Sheriff's Administration Building. Do we,
Just acknowledge report of the sheriff.
not the payment of the invoice?
No, because that's a claim that comes.
Normal.
So moved.
Okay. Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Garza, second by Commissioner Wood. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by state and I. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. 27C.
Aye in favor.
Yeah. 27C, possible action on confer with Commissioner Court Legal Counsel concerning issues relating to possible acquisition of real property for the Dancy Building renovation project.
To accept counteroffer of the owner of Lot 7, Block 120.
Do we have a
So
motion?
moved.
Motion by
Do
Commissioner
we need
Garza,
the
second by
dollar amount
Commissioner-
there?
I would rather wait until we get the papers in the contract, because we don't have a contract yet.
Second by Commissioner Wood. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by state and I.
Aye.
Motion carries. 27D, possible action on deliberation regarding real property concerning the possible acquisition of property in Port Isabel. Motion to,
You can just
to
acknowledge report of the
report
Public Works Department.
Public Works Department.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Garza, second by Commissioner Wood. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 27E, possible action on deliberation regarding acquisition of land for proposed parking lot Paloma. No, we didn't discuss it. Motion
Move
to
the table.
Commissioner Garza, second by Commissioner Wood. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by state and I. Opposed, motion carries. Motion 27F, possible action on confer with Commissioner Court Legal Counsel concerning status of all surrounding issues and agreement with Attorney General's Office, Texas Commission on Jail Standards pursuant. And that's motion to table on that too.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Garza, second by Commissioner Wood. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. 27G, possible action on confer with Commissioner Court. Possible action on deliberation regarding real property concerning acquisition of parcel 1 for the replacement of Searchy Ranch Road, Bridge 131. Motion to authorize the purchase of property for the right-of-way for $5,674.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Garza. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. 27H, possible action on deliberation regarding real property concerning acquisition of parcel 1 for the West Rail project. Motion
Move
to
to table.
by Commissioner.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Motion to adjourn. By Commissioner
So moved.
Wood.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garza. Any further